It started with silence. A silence so heavy, it pressed against every fan's chest like an invisible weight. Cameras had been rolling, lights were soft, and the crowd was expectant. But then, out of nowhere, Jungkook's voice cracked, his breath shuddered, and his eyes filled with tears. The youngest member of BTS, known for his strength and perfection on stage, suddenly couldn't hold it in. What followed was not just a tear, it was a moment so raw and unfiltered that it pierced through millions of screens around the world. And right beside him, Taehyung, his closest brother in the group, wrapped him in an embrace so tender, so protective, that it left even the most stoic ARMY shattered into pieces of emotion. What exactly happened that day? Why did Jungkook cry with such intensity, and what did Taehyung's presence in that moment truly symbolize? To understand the full weight of the scene, we have to look deeper, beyond just the tears, beyond just the hug. Because moments like these are not accidents. They carry layers of meaning, both personal and universal. They show us not only the bond between two people, but also the powerful machine of trust, loyalty, and growth that drives BTS as a global brand. For years, Jungkook has carried the label of the Golden Magne. He was the one who could sing flawlessly, dance with precision, charm effortlessly, and shoulder the responsibility of perfection. But perfection has a price. When you are expected to shine every day, when millions look at you not just as a performer, but as a symbol, the human side starts to crack through the surface. And cracks, when shown openly, can either break a brand or make it more powerful than ever. That is the paradox of modern celebrity, and BTS has mastered it. They've built a brand not on hiding vulnerability, but on turning it into strength. So when Jungkook broke down in tears and Taehyung stepped in, it wasn't weakness on display. It was the ultimate reminder of humanity in an industry often accused of being manufactured. It was trust, loyalty, and authenticity packaged into one unforgettable image. But here's the real twist. While fans saw emotion, marketers saw strategy. Brands that endure are not built on polished surfaces. They're built on stories that people can feel. And this moment, Jungkook in tears, Taehyung holding him up, was the kind of story that no agency, no scriptwriter, no strategist could have engineered better. It was real, and because it was real, it became timeless. Still, one question lingers. What triggered that emotional breakdown? Some say it was exhaustion. Others whisper it was the weight of the future, the uncertainty of military service, or the overwhelming gratitude for ARMY's love. The truth is, perhaps it was all of these combined. Jungkook, the man who has spent his entire youth under the spotlight, finally allowed himself a moment to be simply human. And when he did, it was Taehyung, calm, grounded, and quietly powerful, who reminded him that he didn't have to carry it all alone. And this is where the story deepens. Because it wasn't just a hug, it was a lesson in leadership. Taehyung didn't need to say a word. His presence was enough. That is the mark of true leadership. Not dominance, not control, but the ability to stand beside someone in silence and make them feel safe. Every business, every organization, every brand in the world could learn from that moment. Growth is not just about performance metrics or sales figures. It's about trust, about having someone who catches you when you stumble, someone who believes in your worth even when you're not shining. Now, let's pause here for a teaser. Because while this moment left ARMY in tears, it also hinted at something bigger. Did you notice the way Jungkook's words before the breakdown carried a tone of reflection? Did you notice Taehyung's expression, almost as if he knew what was coming? Could it be that they were quietly signaling something about the group's future, something we weren't supposed to fully grasp yet? This is what keeps millions hooked. The unknown, the mystery, the possibility that behind every tear, behind every gesture, there is a deeper message waiting to be discovered. And that's not just entertainment, that's branding genius. Because when a brand, whether it's BTS or a global company, leaves just enough mystery to spark endless conversations, it multiplies its reach far beyond traditional marketing. It becomes culture, and culture is the most powerful currency in today's world. So, what can we learn from Jungkook's tears and Taehyung's embrace? We learn that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength, it is strength. We learn that leadership is not about commanding, but about being present. We learn that brands, just like people, grow when they allow room for honesty, imperfection, and connection. Think of the biggest global companies today, the ones that have survived decades. Apple, Nike, Disney. What do they all have in common? They don't just sell products. They sell emotions. They create moments that make people feel part of something bigger than themselves. And that's exactly what BTS has done. Not through calculated perfection, but through real, unfiltered moments like this. Jungkook's tears were not a breakdown. They were a breakthrough. They showed that even the most admired stars are still human, and in doing so, they gave ARMY permission to feel, to cry, to embrace their own vulnerabilities. Taehyung's hug was not just comfort, it was an act of branding, of storytelling, of leadership that will be remembered long after the cameras stopped rolling. And maybe that's the real secret. BTS is not just a music group. They're a case study in modern growth. They show us how to scale authenticity, how to turn fragility into connection, how to transform a single emotional moment into a global ripple of loyalty. So the next time you see Jungkook cry, or Taehyung step in to hold him, don't just see it as a fleeting emotional scene. See it as a reminder of what truly drives impact, not perfection, not performance, but presence. Because in the end, it's not about how high you rise, but about who holds you steady when the ground starts to shake. And to every ARMY watching, to every dreamer chasing growth, and to every leader building something meaningful, remember this: your tears don't weaken your story, they strengthen it. And your bonds, just like Jungkook and Taehyung's, may be the very thing that transforms your journey into something unforgettable. So stay tuned. The story of BTS is far from over. And if this moment has taught us anything, it's that the most powerful chapters are often written in silence, in tears, and in the arms of those who truly understand us. Now, the question is, are you ready for the next chapter? Because if BTS has shown us anything, it's that when the lights dim and the stage quiets, that's when the real story begins.